Hello Logitech, technical department. What I am proposing is a new mouse design which would revolutionise the mouse technology we use as we know it today, because when I'm using the mouse I notice that there's always pressure on this part of my wrist. It's always in the same position, and after prolonged use it actually puts pressure on my wrist, on the nerves and also on the veins in my wrist. As you can see, I don't use a mouse mat, I actually use a pad of paper which doubles as a notepad. If I have notes to write, I just write them on my notepad as I go along and then carry on using the mouse, which I think is quite novel. And I'm using a Logitech optical wheel mouse. So what I'm suggesting is to relieve the problem on my wrist, because after using, I sit at the computer and use it for like 8 or 10 hours at a time, and there's quite a lot of pressure on your wrist to always be in the same position. So what I'm suggesting is if we raise the wrist through 90 degrees, then you no longer have pressure on that part, that sensitive part of your wrist where your veins are and your nerves are. So obviously we can't use the mouse like that because there's nothing for the optical part of it to detect. So what we need is a mouse that's rotated through 90 degrees with the optical part on the bottom of the mouse, so it's held in like a hand configuration like that. So you can still use the buttons, you can have a thumb button, you can use the left and right mouse click, no problem. And it's still easy enough to use, but then you'd only have the outside of your wrist and the heel of your hand and your little finger joint. It's much more comfortable. It's actually much more healthy. I think there's much less chance of having repetitive stress syndrome, whatever that is. And yeah, that's my little design. So if you're interested in developing my idea, then contact me and perhaps we can work together. That's my little idea. Thanks very much for watching. And just to show you my idea from another angle, obviously we're using the mouse in the same position all the time, and it puts pressure on this part of the wrist and has the effect of squashing the veins and things. And obviously for short periods of time it's not really noticeable, but after prolonged uses of the mouse can become quite uncomfortable. So what I'm suggesting is, if you rotate the wrist through 90 degrees, if you had a mouse that accommodated that position, it would take all the pressure off your wrist, and you'd only have the heel of your hand and the joint of your little finger in the outer part of your wrist in contact with the desk. Obviously it won't work with a conventional mouse because you need the optical reader to be in contact with the pad. So you can still use the buttons, but you just need to change the shape of the mouse somewhat so you can hold it in an upright position and use it like that. Or you can have like a bookend mouse reader. No, I'm just kidding. So yeah, that's my little idea. Thanks for watching. If we, what we could do, my idea is